Welcome to Journey Church Tucson Sermon Podcast. We are an evangelical free church seeking to honor God by making disciples that learn about, love like, and live for Jesus.
Amen. All right, good morning, everybody. You might be looking up here saying, how did Scott get back up there again? Right? We coordinated so that we would be wearing the plum-colored top and the gray pants. So it's an elder thing. No, I'm Kenyon, and you may be thinking, if you looked at the midweek email about what was going to be preached this morning, you might be thinking, well, where's Jim? I came here for Jim. So if you're here for Jim's preaching, you're out of luck. It's me today. You got me. Yeah, thanks. Thank you. All right. I have my whole family over here, and I didn't. Anyway, that's okay. Anyway, so this week I'm going to continue on our sermon series on what it means to be human, and I'm really privileged to do that. In fact, you might say, how did I get to be in this role? Well, it just so happens that literally a few months ago, this is how well planned out these things are. I mean, you may not think that after you hear the sermon, but anyway. I was talking to Tyler about this sermon series, and he was talking about what are the topics, and he said, being human and technology, and I thought, wow, that sounds cool. I'm kind of into that. I like that stuff. And then the next Sunday, I was over here, and Tyler walked up to me and said, September 22nd. September 22nd, what? You're on. Like, oh, wow. So that's how it happened. So just a little note that if you let on that you're really interested in a sermon topic too much, I'm just saying, no, you won't end up here necessarily. But I'm glad I'm here, really. Let me tell you why I am interested in that topic and in this topic. I happen to be an engineer, so I'm a nerd. I like technology stuff. I like sciencey stuff. And it's something that I've been interested in for some time, both professionally but also personally. And I like gadgets, I like things, and they're cool. And I've done a little bit of tinkering and checking out things. So hopefully my investigation, my tinkering, my checking, my research will be something that will edify you, educate you, and in one way, point you to God, right? He's the one we're supposed to be looking to. And in all things we do, may we glorify him. Amen? Amen. Well, let's start by praying, and then we'll get into the sermon. Heavenly Father, we do pray that in everything we do, whether we eat or drink, whether in word or deed, that these things would be glorifying to you. I pray that especially now as we put our minds to work, to look at your word, to look at wisdom that comes from you, and to look at the things in our society and in our lives that may point to you or may not point to you. And I pray that you would guide us. Holy Spirit, please guide us as we look at how do we handle the things that are in our lives, in our society, that are called technology. I pray that you would let us learn some things and ultimately glorify you, because all these things are your creation. You put it all here. And so we honor you and we praise you and we thank you for this time. In Jesus' name. Amen. Well, let's start not right here, but in an unassuming tech park just south of the Scottsdale Airport, which is literally about 2 hours drive away, and you'll find the headquarters of Alcor. Alcor. Has anyone heard of Alcor? You don't have to answer. What does Alcor do? Do they make aircraft components? They're right next to the airport. Do they make shower curtain rings? Do they make aluminum extrusions? What is it? Alcor. You can't tell by looking at that building. But if you were to step inside Alcor, you would find an array of stainless steel tanks. Odd looking, you can't really see them very well there, but big, maybe 2 to 3 foot diameter stainless steel tanks, cooled with liquid nitrogen to minus 190 C or thereabouts. And what's in those tanks? Inside those tanks are the cryopreserved human remains of Alcor members. Interesting. Alcor is the main U.S. company that does cryonics. Cryonics is the somewhat futuristic practice of preserving one's physical body, physical remains, in the hopes that one day these folks' de-animated body can be reanimated with new technology. Yeah. So I've never been to Alcor. I don't have any plans to go there. But I will tell you some of their other featured services are preservation of pets. So if you have a favorite pet that you think, oh, we don't have the technology to heal our pet, we could freeze the pet, and for only the price of, well, depends on the size of your pet, from $30,000 to $130,000, you can have your pet cryopreserved for future reanimation. And so you can be reunited with your pet. That price goes down quite a bit if you're only doing a so-called neuropreservation. So, yeah, it gets weirder, right? So what is the deal with this? Like wow and ew all at the same time. Who are these people that do this? And what's their thing? Well, they are a group of people that some of them call themselves transhumanists. Some of them are just pursuing life extension. Some of them are into all kinds of futuristic stuff. But one early indication of what they're after comes from a 1962 book written by one of these folks called The Prospect of Immortality. So this is what they're after. They're wanting to find a way in this material world to pursue immortality. Now that's something that we tend to think of as a religious thing, right? To be immortal, to be eternal. But these are folks who are very materialist. They believe in this world and the physicalness that you see before you, and they are pursuing this. They've put their faith in a technology that they hope will allow them to live on someday. What is the proper place for these types of technologies? Is this something that we should actually leverage our entire lives on? That we should put our entire faith in for our future lives? What is the right place of technology? It's a question we need to ask ourselves, and it's a bit of a dilemma because sometimes we think technology is neat. Other times we realize that there's some sincere, firm limits to what we need to do with technology. That brings me to a quote from one of our famous intellectuals and poets, and that quote is this. Yes, I love technology, but not as much as you see. Still, I love technology always and forever, always and forever. And of course, some of you already know this is from Kip Dynamite. So, Kip struggled with technology and keeping it in its proper place. There were good things about his use of technology. For example, he actually was able to meet his soulmate over the internet, but he also alienated his family, and he spent hours on the internet. And so if you know Kip, you know. If you don't, ask somebody who knows. But yes, Kip he's a famous guy. But seriously, what should the right place be in technology? And ultimately, yes, I love technology, right? It's cool stuff, but not as much as what? We need to put it in its proper place. We need to say, we can like the technology, but we need to know when to say, hey, enough's enough. Well, let's dig into what technology actually is. What is technology, right? We're talking about this word technology. So let me talk to you about it a little bit. And before we dive into that, let me just say, some of you are thinking, I'm just not that interested in technology. It's, I don't care. I'm not into it. I have a landline or a dumb phone or something like that. Well, that's fine. That's okay. And some of us are like, what are you talking about? There's so much more than you're even letting on here in terms of technology. We have a very broad spectrum of people who may or may not be interested in technology. And let me just say, please stick with me on this, because there's a lot for everyone as to how you respond, not just to the technology, but to the people who are responding to the technology. So if you say, well, look, I'm not into that. I'm not a techno person. I don't listen to techno music. There's still something here for you, because hopefully this will help us to see how we can relate to, how we can bring people back who maybe are stuck in technology. So stay with me here. What is technology? If you ask a techie person like me what technology is, the pat answer is, technology is applied science. Have you ever heard that? And that's what it is. But that doesn't really clear it up very much, does it? So let me come up with a decent definition, because the development of technology predated the term or the practice of science or the scientific process by centuries. We had things that were technology long before we had something called science. So let's look at technology. Technology is the application of natural principles, natural laws, the things around us, the physical world, along with some human knowledge to create devices, tools, mechanisms, machines, things, stuff, or even processes to achieve valued goals for the user and or the creator. I've chosen my words carefully here for some reason. You may be able to kind of pick it out as we go through. But in short, technology is the stuff that we invent to solve problems, to do stuff for ourselves and other people. So in a word, these are the things that we want to have in our lives, that God has made a way for us to do this, to make things easier for ourselves, or funner, maybe, funnerer. The development and application of technology has been going on for millennia, right? That's thousands of years. Centuries and millennia. I kind of like to look through, and because I like it, you're going to have to do it now too. Look through the scriptures and see some of the early technologies, some of the things that are actually mentioned in the Bible that are developments that we can consider to be technology. And this kind of forms a foundation for what we're saying. What is technology? Well, here's some of that stuff. Even in Genesis chapter 2, before there's even men to invent things or to create technology, God himself has some precursors to man-made technologies. God planted a garden. He cultivated plants. He said, I'm going to organize this stuff. I'm going to make this garden. So God planted a garden. That's a precursor. And then God put Adam into a deep sleep and did major surgery on him. And that is a precursor to anesthesia. So it's an interesting thing that before humans were creative, obviously God was creative, but he did these things that we have now taken and developed into technologies as well. So fun stuff. But that's not it. God said to Adam, fill the earth and subdue it. And when he says subdue, he means take control of it. Take charge of it. Hey, this is your thing, right? Make it yours. Subdue the earth. Take all these things, all these parts and pieces, all these properties, and do stuff with it. And we know, to his glory in the end, right? So God says, do it. Go for it. It's yours. So God gives Adam and Eve all of the physics, all of the chemistry, all of the biology, all of these things that just I geek out about. I think that there's so many cool things, so many cool ways in which the world works that we're able to then create useful things. And God says, hey, that's cool. I knew you were going to do that, but it's still cool that you did it. You got there. And even before the fall, now we don't see a lot of narration about what was going on there. We kind of see Adam and Eve are in the garden, they name the animals, and then the serpent does his thing. But in between that time, those events, they spent some time in the garden, and for a certain few reasons, I think that they were actually developing some things, making some advancements, even at that time. They, I believe, even did some creative inventing before the fall. But of course, we know in Genesis 3, Adam and Eve sinned, and we've talked about that quite a bit. So I'm not going to delve into that. I'm going to talk about what happened after they sinned. Well, first of all, big changes, right? Changes in the way Adam and Eve felt about themselves, changes that God caused to happen in the earth. But in Genesis 3, verse 7, it says, they were ashamed. And so, what did they do? They sowed. They sowed. How did they know how to sow? Well, this is one of those things that maybe they were doing, needlepoint before the fall or something. Maybe they were doing these things, developing some of these technologies before they even had the fall. But they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves loincloths. So we see the initial start of something like cloth technology or textiles, using a natural material as a cloth, the idea of sewing the leaves together, and then the fashion industry was also started right then with the advent of loincloths. It's gone on to be much bigger than that. But how did they know how to sew? How did they know that these fig leaves were going to do the thing that they wanted them to do? I think that they had some ideas and they were experimenting with some things even before the fall. But God improves on their meager effort, and in Genesis 3:21 it says, "The Lord God made for Adam and his wife garments of skins and clothed them." So and this often happens in technology, right? You have one thing, it's like, this is state of the art, and then someone else comes along and creates a new technology to displace the old technology. This is what God did. He was the original disruptor, I guess, right? So he made clothes out of skins and clothed Adam and Eve. There's some interesting takeaway from that, and here it is. God himself used a creative process, and arguably you can say this is a technology, to mitigate, at least in a temporary way, one of the consequences of the fall. Adam and Eve said, "Oh my goodness, look at us. We're naked." So they tried to do something, cover themselves up, and God said, "Here, look, let me do this." One of the consequences of the fall was that they felt this shame. And through a technological process, through an artifact process, or a means of taking the physical things that he'd created, God helped Adam and Eve to mitigate one of the consequences of the fall. And you'll see that this is something that we have done ever since. We're trying to find ways to ease the toil, to ease the pain of the world that came out after the fall. And God has allowed us to do these things. He started with these clothes that he made for Adam and Eve. He said, "Look, cover yourselves with these things." And now we have gone on to do many more things, invent many more things, to ease the toil, to ease the pain. But there's still a futility that's left that we know of, that we struggle with in this world, in this fallen world, because we know that, like Adam and Eve learned, we will surely die. And that's our end. And so no matter what we do, no matter what we invent, no matter how much we amass in terms of wealth or fame or anything like that, it's still futile. And coming up with new technologies doesn't fix that. But there is a way to fix it, and we'll get to that. Wait to the end. You guys already know the answer, but we'll go through the process here. We're made of dust. To dust we shall return. So we want to try and mitigate some of the effects of the fall. And that brings us to our first point, that God created this whole earth to do that. He created the whole earth and all that is in it as potential building blocks. He said, "Look, I made the natural laws. I made the physics. I made the chemistry. I made the biology. I did this. And you can use it. Use it wisely." Psalm 8, 3-6. "When I look at your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars which you have set in place, what is man that you are mindful of them, and the son of man that you care for him? Yet you have made him a little lower than the heavenly beings and crowned him with glory and honor. You have given him dominion over the works of your hands and have put all things under his feet. God has given us this stuff, and we can use it. And in the end, we still want to point to him. We want to say, God created this. He let us use this. It's like a big Lego set. We can put these things together and look at the cool things we can make and use them, but he's the one who should get the glory. Point it back to him. So sometimes we ask the question, just because you can do it, does that mean you should do it? Or maybe another way to say it is technology always good? Or is technology bad? Is it good or bad? Is technology good or bad? There it is. Many of you have heard the saying, if God had wanted us to fly, he would have given us wings, right? If God had wanted us to fly, he would have given us wings. The implication with that is God didn't want us to fly because we don't have wings that are, part of our body. We remain gravitationally challenged, as it were, right? I think back to the Old Testament times, back when some of these technologies were still uninvented. Some of these things that we take for granted today that are so old, we think, well, that's always been around, right? Like the wheel. I'm thinking about, think for instance this saying, if God had wanted us to travel across the seas, he would have given us flippers or gills or something like that, right? You don't hear that. You don't hear that saying. I don't think there are many people that have a problem with boats as a typical technology. And in fact, if you look at the New Testament, who were some of Jesus' disciples? They were fishermen, and at some points, Jesus actually got into their boats and sailed around or rowed around the Sea of Galilee with them. So there were other times when he actually walked on the water. I don't think he was trying to make a statement about boats per se, but he did use boats. And I think that that's a fair statement that there's nothing inherently wrong with boats as a technology. I think that you can extrapolate that and say, boats are okay, you get in them, you float around. Maybe we could say then that airplanes are okay, you get in them, you fly around. You haven't really changed the fundamental nature of yourself. You're just flying in a plane, floating in a boat. God has allowed us to do that. He's allowed us to invent these things. What are some of the other examples of technology that I would say are neither good nor bad, but maybe could be used for good or bad purposes? Let's take a look, and again, let's go back, a long way back, all the way to Genesis 4, and look at some of the examples of technology. Now, again, these are things we take for granted now, but they weren't necessarily, you couldn't take it for granted. These were new, innovative things. In fact, Genesis 4 talks about some of the things that some of these people invented along the way. Purposeful agriculture, the actual cultivation of food plants. Cain did that. He's famous for that. And then his brother Abel, animal husbandry, being a shepherd, learning to actually raise the sheep, also to butcher the sheep, because when he presented his offering to God, he presented the choice fat pieces, and God was pleased with that. He didn't have a long career in shepherding, but he did bring it about. He had some innovation there. Cain went on to develop city planning and construction. He built a city. And then some of his descendants, Jabal, developed raising of livestock. So similar to animal husbandry of sheep, but also now it's livestock, cattle. He also lived in tents. He and his family lived in tents. So they developed tents as a shelter. One of his, I think it's his brother, Jubal, developed musical instruments, the pipe and the lyre, wind instruments and stringed instruments. So these are people that back in the day, they're hitting things or blowing on it. Hey, wow, if you blow on this, it makes a sound. And if you have little holes in it or if you do things with it, you can get different pitches from this pipe. And so that was way back when these things were developed, right? Cool stuff. Here's one that's near and dear to my heart as a mechanical engineer. Smelting and metallurgy and forging of bronze and iron. This was developed by Tubal-Cain. It's interesting because if you look at history, the eras or the ages of history are often described using materials, right? Like there's the Stone Age or the Copper Age or the Bronze Age or the Iron Age. This is where the forging of bronze and iron was invented. And there's a lot that goes into that when you think about this. It wasn't just like Tubal-Cain said, hey, I'm going to get a hammer and pound this piece of iron into a spear or a, I don't know, something. I don't know what else he would do. But he had to actually develop the way of getting the iron. The forging of the iron was the last step. He had to actually figure out, well, where can you get iron? What are the rocks that have iron in them? What are the rocks that have copper in them? Because bronze, as everyone knows, is an alloy of copper and, what is it, zinc or tin? Okay, anyway, it's zinc or tin. Trust me on this. So you had to find copper, you had to find zinc or tin or both. And then you had to figure out how to get them out of the rocks. And then you had to put them together and melt them and mix them and get the impurities out. And after that, you'd have an ingot or something of that metal. And then you had to pound it and do stuff with it and figure out how to pound it, what sort of tools you would use. So there was a lot to this. It took a lot of innovation. It took a lot of effort. And God said, I think these guys will figure it out. He put it all there. Like Minecraft, right? I guess I should say Minecraft is like that. Some of you know. Again, if you know, you know. So God created all these things. He put them out here for us to use. And this is all the way back in Genesis 4. We can go further in Genesis and Exodus. There are boats mentioned. Of course, the ark. God said, Noah, build an ark. Some of you have heard this. What's an ark? It's a big boat. What's a boat? So he built a boat, and a good thing he did. Noah also, post-flood, developed viticulture and winemaking. It wasn't really such a great thing for him in the end, but it was one of the things that he also did. Then further on in Genesis, the Tower of Babel, where people got together and said, here's an idea. Let's take mud and make bricks and bake them in the sun. Wow, what a technology. They're basically saying, let's improve some of our building materials by baking them in the sun. And it was a hot place, I guess. So they started building the Tower of Babel. Incidentally, they didn't have the linguistic sciences, or they might have been able to still stay together, but they were distributed around the world because God confused their language. We hear again about bricks and material that goes into bricks in Exodus. They're still making bricks, but then they're adding, I like this is a composite material for those that are into that. They're taking fibers and putting them into the brick. They're putting straw into the mud so that it has more strength in those bricks, so that if they're loaded in certain ways, they won't just crumble and fall apart. They can take certain loads in certain ways. Ingenious, right? This is a technology. And it was all the way back when the Israelites were working in Egypt, toiling in Egypt, as it were. Because when they escaped, they were chased by Pharaoh, riding in chariots. So not only is there wheels, but these wheels have been put to use for weapons of war in his army. And then the Egyptians also have now started using horses, right? Horsecraft, and all the things that go along with that. So all of these technologies. Now, are they good or bad? Yes. They are. They're good or bad, depending on how they're put to use. We can see that Pharaoh chasing the Israelites down in his chariots, that was probably not a good thing, right? If the Israelites had had chariots, I think they might have been able to get away. The baked bricks to build the Tower of Babel, good or bad? well, God confused their language. He said, I don't want you to do this, because if you continue with this, nothing will be impossible for you. That's an interesting statement. But building buildings out of bricks can be, there's some bricks right out there, right? That's not a bad thing. So these things can be used for good things or bad things. Now, throughout history, again, you maybe didn't know, you're going to get a history lesson, sorry. But there's many more technologies that are just really interesting to contemplate. How did these things come about, and are they being used for good or bad? One of these things is, I don't know if I put these in. Maybe I didn't. I'll just go through them. The printing press, right? Are books that are printed on a printing press, are they good or bad? Okay, yeah. A lot of them are good. Well, think about this. What was the first famous book that was printed on the printing press, right? The Gutenberg Bible. Gutenberg, the guy. But I will say that there's plenty of things printed, both then and now, that are not good. Terrible things. Propaganda, filth, all kinds of things. Gutenberg Bible, other stuff. So, good or bad? What about, I like this one too, steel. So we went through the Iron Age, and then we came into the Industrial Age, or the Industrial Revolution. This is when the Bessemer furnace was invented. Everybody knows that, right? Yeah, good. And so we're able to make steel, which is better than iron, harder than iron, more ductile, all of those great things. And is it used for good or evil? I look up and I see those up in the peak, those big things with a whole bunch of bolts. Those are made of steel. Those hold our church together. I think that's a good thing. I'm glad they're there. That's steel. It does good things, and it also does terrible things. It can be made into weapons that can be used unjustly in terrible ways. So good, bad. The light bulb, it allows people to work. It also allows people to force others to work late into the night, maybe. Electric power, batteries, internal combustion engines. The telephone. I know my parents, back when I was on my landline, I would stretch the cord around to get into the other room so I could talk to... Anyway. They didn't think the telephone was that great, although they used it too. So there were good uses, there are bad uses. Refrigerators and refrigeration. I was talking to Tyler about this. He said, maybe we should turn off all the electricity so we would have a greater appreciation of the technology. And I thought, maybe in the wintertime we could do that, because I don't think we'd like it if we were here without refrigeration. Here are some interesting ones. Nuclear energy, or atomic energy. The advent of atomic energy, the reason it was actually developed in the first place was as a weapon. Now, people can argue whether that was a good thing or a bad thing. It was a weapon, and there are still many weapons that are, nuclear weapons. But there's also a really great thing about nuclear energy. It's an abundant power source. And some of you may also know that if you're headed up towards Alcor, but instead you go west of Phoenix, you'll find the Palo Verde nuclear power plant, which, as it happens, is the largest nuclear power plant in the country. It's really big, and it's not even fully up and running. So some of our power, well, if that weren't powering Phoenix and maybe parts of California, because they use a lot of power over there, then we might be getting some of our power from them. As it happens, I don't think we do. And the internet, that's another invention. Is it good or bad? Absolutely, there are bad things, bad uses of it. Absolutely. In fact, one might say a higher percentage of bad use. But there are also ways in which it connects us in ways that we wouldn't be able to do it. And I think back just a few years back when we were not meeting in person, and the thing that allowed us to still have some semblance of connection was through the internet. I'm not saying we want to keep doing that, but it was a little bit of a lifeline in some ways. So, good or bad? Good or evil? Both? So another book that I've been sort of interested in is called The Book That Made Your World. It's by an Indian author named Vishal Mangalwadi. Interesting guy. He's an Indian Christian who, in his book, The Book That Made Your World, he describes how Western civilization, based on the book that made your world, based on the Bible, has allowed Western civilization to flourish in ways that his culture has not because of biblical principles. One of those being a quest to develop helps, a quest to develop things that are useful and good for us, to use them to benefit society, to benefit people. And he acknowledges that there are bad uses for technology. But here's the statement that he makes. Evil is in our hearts, not in the technology. So if you see a technology being used for evil, it's not because that technology is necessarily evil, because it could be used for good as well. Evil is in our hearts, not in technology. Jeremiah 17:9, you've heard it before. The heart is deceitful above all things. It's desperately sick. Who can understand it? We can't trust some of these technologies to be, in the wrong. If this got into the wrong hands, what would happen, right? That's a common quote. Romans 1:29 through 31. These are the kinds of people that will co-opt a technology for evil. They're filled with all manner of unrighteousness, evil, covetousness, malice. They are full of envy, murder, strife, deceit, maliciousness. They are gossips, slanderers, haters of God, insolent, haughty, boastful, inventors of evil, disobedient to parents, foolish, faithless, heartless, ruthless. In the end, we are the ones who get to decide how we use technology and who it ends up glorifying. We are the ones that decide. God has created this whole world and all these laws, the physics, the chemistry, the biology, all of these things, and he originally said, it's good. But if we take it in the wrong direction, we definitely can take it to an evil end, a selfish end, one that rejects God and his purposes. We naturally covet our own path. We naturally covet our own purposes, and the world does so as well. And we tend to exalt ourselves. And that brings me to the next question. And we already touched on it with the internet. What about the technologies of today? What about them? Are they different? Are they more tending towards evil uses? Is there more of a tendency that they would be used for improper ends? Sometimes I think so. Sometimes because there are so many things out there, again, looking at the internet or looking at a place like Alcor, and I think, what good is that technology bringing to society? Would it have been better to have never had it in the first place? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that, but I do think that ultimately we still have to say, we can use those things for good. We can use them to glorify God. We just have to figure out how. And how do we ask the right questions? How do we get the right direction? How do we make sure we're moving in the right way with these technologies? So I'd like to set up a few questions that we can ask ourselves as we're looking at our technologies. This can be sort of a filter when you're looking at your use of technologies or someone else's use of technologies. You can say, is this a good thing? The first one is, what is the purpose? What is the purpose of this technology? Why is the user or creator, why is that technology there, and why are they using it? What is the impact to the user and to those around the user? Is it edifying? Is it lifting up? What place does this technology take in the life of the user? Does it take over? Does it supplant the proper position of other things in the user's life? And then number 4, and ultimately the final word, does the use of this technology align with scriptural truth? And I use that word truth on purpose because it's not as popular a word today as it may have been in the past. We want things that are true, not virtual. We want things that are real and tie back to God's word. We want things that are scriptural. So I've got a couple of scriptural tests, and you can write these down. The verse in 1 Corinthians is a great one as well. These things that they're edifying and lifting up. All things are lawful, but not all things are edifying, right? All things are lawful, but not all things are good. Another one is Philippians 4:8. Some of you may already know this. Whatever is true, there's that word again. Whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there is any excellence, if there is anything worthy of praise, think about these things. Is your technology driving you in that direction? Is it helping you to think about those things? It might, it can, maybe. If it's not, then maybe you need to take action. Matthew 6:20, lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven where neither moth nor rust destroys, where thieves do not break in and steal, for where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Lay up for yourself treasures in heaven where, and I'm going to add in a little paraphrase, this is the Kenyon version, where hard drives will not fail. Maybe? I don't know. The thing is, we want to be focusing on things that are eternal. We want to be focusing on things that are edifying to other people, to other souls, eternal souls, and glorifying to God. That's what we want to focus on. We want to lay up treasures in heaven. I'd like to use this filter, these 4 questions, to look at a couple of things. We can't possibly go through every technology that's out there, but I want to use a couple of examples to say, what about this one? What about this one? And it's not an exhaustive journey. So as you're looking at your use of technology, as you're looking at how you interact with your world through a phone or through a computer or through this or that, think about these things. Let's take a look at one of them that a lot of us have to deal with, not everyone, but a lot of us, and that's social media. So that's a technology, right? It's something that was developed, arguably for a good purpose, right? Social, being social. Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, X. I don't know which it is. It's X, I guess, right? Other things, other social media things, digital connections. They were developed by their creators, arguably as a means to connect other people, right? That sounds good, to connect other people together. But the goal ultimately doesn't really seem to be a magnanimous one, because what are they trying to do? They're trying to monetize, ultimately, right? They're trying to get money out of us. So they are actually setting up their sites so that we want to spend more and more time there. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But what is the purpose? Well, the purported purpose of social media is to connect other people through digital media, to entertain. For some users, it is to influence or to gain adulation, adoration. Some people are on social media because they want to get likes. They want to essentially be worshipped by other people. They want to have a number of likes. They want to have followers, that sort of thing. And what is the impact of that? Question number 2, what is the impact? One thing, and it's kind of like Kip Dynamite, it took him away from his relationship with his family, right? And I know it's a funny example, but this is a real deal, right? It's a real thing, that our social media use can isolate us from real people. We'll be scrolling along, and there are real, physical, present people around us that we end up ignoring and missing. Another impact is that it can become addictive. It can be a thing where you're always trying to reload the page. Like, oh, did someone see it? Did someone see it yet? Did I get any likes? Oh, yeah, there's one. Yeah, okay. So you end up just seeking that adulation, that adoration, seeking that attention from others, and it becomes a change in the way you interact with that technology. It's something that you actually will do and pursue those connections, those likes. And that takes us to question number 3, which is, what is the position in the user's life? If it's not kept in control, it can become something that is addictive, can be damaging to relationships, it can supplant relationships, it can take a position of preeminence over our relationship with God and other people. And that's when it becomes a real problem. Question number 4, is it aligned with Scripture? Well, if it gets out of hand, absolutely not. It can become an idol. It can be something that we pursue as a replacement for God, or a way of taking away attention from God and letting people adore us. Oh, wow, what a great vacation pic, that kind of stuff. We don't want to do that. We don't want to take anything away from God. We need to be putting the focus back on Him. So is it aligned with Scripture? It doesn't have to clash with Scripture. It doesn't have to be taking away, but it can be. And so we need to be careful with that. The real problem with social media is when it becomes an addiction or a pursuit that starts to put other people off. So how do you keep that in check? Well, we need to have the right balance. And if you have it out of balance, then you need to seek input from others. You need to set it aside. You may need to go on a fast. You may need to get some actual help from other people that have dealt with these in a professional sense. But it can be a real issue. Or it can be just a slight issue, but still an issue. Let's take a look at another technology, and this is that of virtual reality. And there's some overlap in these things, but virtual reality, some of you say, I know virtually nothing about virtual reality. That's okay. I can explain a little bit of it, and it is an evolving technology which promises to allow people to have a separate experienced reality by using electronic sensory inputs to get into a different environment, one that is not real, but one that can be optimized or idealized to give you what you want, to put you in a place where you want to be, to give you experiences that you want, to give you sensations that you want, offering visual and auditory, tactile responses from this virtual reality environment. I'll say that even more than social media, and maybe not this moment in history, but I think others foresee, and myself as well, foresee a time when virtual reality will compete with people for reality. There are many people who would gladly trade their current reality for something that they can control, manipulate, and idealize. They don't want to have to deal with the problems that are in this world. They want to escape. And wanting solutions to our problems and escape from our problems, that's probably not an unusual thing. But going into an escape mode where you actually just put it off and go somewhere else, that is not healthy and not something good. So let's answer these questions. Purpose. What is the purpose of virtual reality? Well, it can be just to entertain or amuse or spend some time, but what happens with some people is it becomes an escape, an unhealthy escape. The creators of virtual reality want to offer some kind of escape. They want to offer an amusement. but they're not doing it for free, and they want to create an addictive product that will draw people in. And here's the thing, if they can understand your wants and desires through algorithms that say, okay, when we presented this option, they went for it. When we presented that option, they didn't, so let's do this more. They can figure out what it is you want and essentially always give you what you want. So we have the risk of putting ourselves, and this is true of social media sometimes too, and targeted advertisements and things like that. We can put ourselves in an environment where the controllers of that environment will always offer us pretty much exactly what we want. That's a pretty dangerous place to be, where we'll always be tempted with the thing that is the most enticing thing that could be. And we don't want to voluntarily put ourselves there. It's not a good place. We essentially make ourselves slaves to that environment. So let's answer these questions. What is the purpose of VR? To occupy time. Sometimes it becomes an escape. The impact to the user, it can be maybe a pleasant escape, a transitory departure from reality, but it becomes, for some, a false reality that they may become more comfortable in or more interested in being in than the actual reality. It may become an idol, and that is question number 3. The purpose or the position in someone's life, it may be something where they actually say, this is what I need. This is the thing that's going to help me get through life, or this is the only life I want anymore. That's a dangerous place to be. Is it aligned with Scripture? I think that it might be in small doses, but ultimately the thing is, if we put ourselves in positions where someone can say, I'll give you exactly what you want every time, all the time, then sooner or later we run the risk of getting sucked into that. Is it aligned with Scripture? It's false. It's a false reality, and I don't think that that's aligned with Scripture. Whatever things are true is something that we should be pursuing. It doesn't pass that test. I think that when we get into a way of living falsely and telling ourselves lies just so that we can make it through, that's not a healthy place to be. And it's a time to be wary and to seek help and to seek truth. Some other curious things about virtual reality that I just wanted to touch on. There already are virtual reality environments or games that allow users or players to cheat on their spouses in the game, to have romantic or encounters in this environment, in the virtual reality environment. And this also is definitely not aligned with Scripture, as Jesus says in Matthew, I say to you that everyone who looks on a woman with lustful intent has already committed adultery with her in his heart. Jesus is saying that it's the thoughts and intentions of the heart, it's what's going on the inside that ends up being what he's interested in, and that's what ends up driving us. So is that a healthy thing? Is that aligned with Scripture? No, it's not. Here's another example. This is a weird one. There are already existing technologies that allow simulation of people's voices. And some of you may have heard that there are VR voices that will call and say, hey, are you voting for me? Or things like that. There have been instances of people's voices being simulated and calling up a parent or a bank or things to say, hey, I'd like to withdraw this much money or things like that. Weird things, right? But those are just some of the initial uses of it. There is a technology now also, if you take that virtual reality voice and couple it with an artificial intelligence method of pulling a mimetic entity from a person, I'll say it's a deceased loved one. You can actually take writings and words and recordings of a deceased loved one, and they'll intake that into an AI and create an artificial intelligence entity that will then emulate that deceased person. and then add to that a voice, and you can actually, and it's not all put together yet, but this is what's coming. You can actually get a deceased companion, sort of like a Alexa, so you can talk to a deceased relative and have conversations and say, hey, how was your day, or what's the weather like, and they will answer in the voice of that person. So this is a curious thing. Some will recoil at this. They'll say that's unnatural, that's weird. Some will say, wow, that's very comforting. I would like that. I find it a little troubling because, again, it's one of those things where I think, here's something that's based on falseness. It's not a person. It's an image. It's an inanimate object that is imparted human characteristics. It's like taking an image of wood or stone and imbuing it with human characteristics. It's just these are a little more sophisticated, right? Those things can become an idol as well. It's interesting, Tyler said a couple weeks ago, with an idol made of wood, you don't know whether to take this log, which part of it is supposed to be the part that you pray to, which part of it is the one that you cook your dinner over, right? So nowadays we have to ask the question, which of these silicon chips are you going to idolize and which are you going to get to set your thermostat? These are the kinds of things that we're dealing with. It's technology that does mundane things, but we're turning it around into these things that can deceive us, that can act falsely and in some ways comfort us. But is that the right thing? To be given everything we want when we want it, just because it comforts us. The danger of virtual reality is that it's attractive, but it's counterfeit, and it may satisfy us, but it's false, and it becomes an idol. Let's look at one more thing, and this will take us eventually back to Alcor. The idea of transhumanism, and I don't know, some of you may have heard of transhumanism and human augmentation. When I say transhumanism, this doesn't have anything to do with trans, like human sexuality, trans movement. This is a reference to the idea and philosophy that as time goes on, the human race, as we know it, will evolve into something different and something that is technologically based, something that has been augmented with prosthetics, possibly neural or cognitive augmentation, and that we will eventually become something that is almost a different species that will transfer into that. That's transhumanism, and these are the people that want to pursue things like cryonics and brain-computer interface technologies, things that will allow us to, for instance, instead of having to remember things ourselves, we can tap into these computers and like have a limitless hard drive, that kind of stuff. What is their motivation, right? I think we can kind of see it, but I want to read to you from one of the early and still going transhumanists. Her name is Natasha Vita-Moore, and she's one of the advisors for Alcor. She says, technologies that intervene with human physiology for curing disease and repairing injury have accelerated, so those sound okay, right? Curing disease and repairing injury. They've accelerated to the point in which they can also increase human performance outside the realms of what is considered to be normal for humans. These technologies are referred to as emerging and speculative and include nanotechnology, nanomedicine, biotechnology, genetic engineering. These are not bad things in and of themselves. Stem cell cloning, transgenesis, for example, other technologies could extend and expand human capabilities outside physiology, including artificial intelligence, artificial general intelligence, robotics, and brain-computer integration, which form the domain of bionics, uploading, and could be used for whole-body prosthetics. A whole-body prosthetic. Essentially what that means is you take your consciousness and put it into another body. That sounds really weird. It sounds pretty far-fetched, but they're believers in it. They're putting their faith in that. Dr. Vida Moore and her colleagues are not known for being believers in God. They are materialists, and they say, what you see is what you get. What we have here, this is all we have. Let's work with it, right? That's their philosophy. Dr. Vida Moore wrote in 1983 the Transhumanist Manifesto. I'm going to read you an excerpt of that as well. There's a few lines, and there's an ending line here that says, I become. It almost sounds like I am, but it's not quite there yet. I become. I am the architect of my existence. My life reflects my vision, represents my values. It conveys the very essence of my being, coalescing imagination and reason, challenging all limits. It reminds me of another person speaking, saying, I will make myself like the Most High. And I think that sense of arrogance pervades this movement, the transhumanist movement, where these people think that they are the only ones that can determine their outcome. They're not in complete control, we know this, but they want to be in complete control. That's what they're doing. What is their purpose in pursuing this technology? Let's ask those 4 questions. It's for their own longevity. It's for their own elevation. And the impact to them is to become their own center, their own goal, their own God. This technology, some of those technologies that I mentioned, they're not bad in and of themselves, but when they become wrapped up in that, it becomes the main focus. The impact on the user or the position of the technology in their life is it becomes their very life and their very existence. They're actually saying, I want to take my consciousness and put it into this technology. I will become this. It's a pretty crazy thing. It's a pretty impactful thing for someone to say, I will put my faith in this technology because I want to pursue immortality. Does it align with scriptural truth? Ultimately, I will say no, it doesn't. As we talked about last week, there's a covetousness that has led to idolatry. These people say, I want longer life. I want intelligence. I want control. I want my own destiny. That's not scriptural. We go back to Romans 1. I'll read it. The wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men, who by their unrighteousness suppress the truth. For what can be known about God is plain to them because God has shown it to them. For his invisible attributes, namely his eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly perceived ever since the creation of the world in the things that have been made, including the technologies. So they are without excuse. For although they knew God, they did not honor him as God or give thanks to him, but they became futile in their thinking, and their foolish hearts were darkened. Claiming to be wise, they became fools and exchanged the glory of the immortal God for images resembling mortal man and birds and animals and creeping things. These people had a chance to recognize God and his power in his creation and in technology even, and they've turned away from him. Here's the bottom line. Technology is an extension of God's creation. It should point us back to him instead of serving to elevate ourselves. And I want to give you a couple of quick takeaways from this. What does that mean for us? And I mentioned at the beginning, even if you're not a tech person, there's something in this for you. First of all, we need to put technology in its proper place and use the scriptures to test it in our own lives. Are we handling it properly? And if we're not, we need to get help to do it, to put it in its rightful place. Number 2, be the loving reality for those that are stuck in a counterfeit life, in a technologically addictive life. Be the ones who are present, who are not stuck in a screen or in a VR. Understand that even if you're not in the technology, you can be the reality that someone comes back to. You can be the loving person that points them back to Christ. And number 3, look around us and look at what God has created, and even created things for us to create, and give him the glory. Give the praise back to him, because he's the one that made it all. So let's go back to Scottsdale. In those cryonics tanks, there's the last physical remains of some of these people who put their faith in a technology that one day they will be reanimated, or one might say resurrected, right? We have a different faith. We have a different faith in a different resurrection, don't we? We have a faith that our bodies don't need to be preserved in liquid nitrogen, that God will take these degrading, corruptible bodies and do something amazing to them and transform them, and that we will be with him. And that's an amazing faith, and it's amazing hope that we can have. Jesus conquered the grave. We don't need liquid nitrogen for it. Jesus conquered the grave. He gave us this whole earth. He gave us dominion over it. He allows us to create amazing things. But in the end, we want to point it back to him, because he's the one. He's the master of all of this creation. And so let's pray together and praise him. Father, we thank you for your creation. We thank you for all of the building blocks you've given us. We thank you that you've allowed us to do some pretty amazing things, but ultimately, all it does is point back to you. You knew about all of these things. You created the building blocks. You created us. You created the ingenuity, the creativity. Father, I pray that we would have a right perspective and put things in the right place. I pray that we would seek you rather than temporary, artificial, counterfeit comfort in technologies, but that we would use things for your glory, that we would support one another, that we would be present, that we would be real, that we would seek truth, and that ultimately, again, we would glorify and honor you in all that we say and do. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you for listening to Journey Church Tucson Sermon Podcast. We'd love to have you join us in person on Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. You can find out more about us at journeyefc.org.